It's been 4 years since we built the Hare Scramble as a part of Royal Enfield's bolt-on wheel project, where we converted an Interceptor 650 into a Scrambler. And to be honest, over these years, I've only managed to clock around 1200 kilometers on it because first and foremost, I did not really have as much time to ride for myself. Well, such is life. And secondly, and more importantly, I was too scared that I'll destroy the knobbies if I ride this on the road. So after much deliberation, I thought it was time for another mini project with the Hare Scramble, and that is to see how this motorcycle does as a roadster. First thing we did was to soften out the suspension, because previously the setup was designed to be able to ride this machine in the dirt as fast as we could. But we had limited travel, so the suspension was on the firmer side. As now we are primarily riding on the road, we're looking for a good balance, and which is why we have basically dialed out some of the preload, which is what YSS folks offer you. In fact, we have swapped the rear YSS shocks with the stock shocks, because those were again sprung on the heavier side to be able to withstand the speeds when you're riding in the dirt and not bottom out. The stock suspension is comparatively softer, and with the preload in the mid-range, I think this should offer better ride quality and better grip, especially when you're riding on the road. But the biggest change, of course, are the tires. Now, if you've seen any of my past recently done mini projects, whether it was the NS400Z or the Gorilla 450, you know how much of a difference good tires make. They can literally transform not just the motorcycle, but the entire riding experience. So yeah, this is the first and perhaps one of the most important pieces of the puzzle in this mini project, the tires. This time around we have gone with Eurogrip's Trailhound SCR tires, which are brand new, and they tell us that they have been specifically designed for scramblers. Now they come in two iterations. They come in 0-degree steel belt radial tires, as well as Crossply with synthetic fibers, depending on the tire and rim size. Considering we are running a 19-18 wheel setup, we had to go with the Crossply option. But in terms of the tire size, we have gone ahead with the 100-90-19 and 130-70-18. As these are specifically designed for scramblers, they are 80-20 dual purpose tires with more focus on the road. So even though they have this block pattern, these knobs, they are not as aggressive, and even the grooves, they vary in terms of shape and radius to offer you maximum contact patch even when the motorcycle is leaned over. Plus, they also have a good mix of high silica compound as well as black carbon to offer you good grip in the wet as well as the dry. But do they really work? And more importantly, can the Hare Scramble deliver an experience which is as exhilarating on the road as it does off it? Only one way to find out. Have I missed this? That engine, that exhaust note, even after all of these years, continue to blow me away. Makes for such an immersive experience, this bike. And yes, I did not expect this setup to already work so well on the road. If anything, I had my doubts, considering that we are not running radials, we are running crossplies, considering that the SCRs are actually H rated and not W rated like all the other Eurogrip tires that we have tested and been impressed with in the past. And lastly, the fact that we were running such a big fat rear sprocket which has primarily been designed for the motorcycle to be ridden in the dirt, I wasn't quite sure if the tires will have enough grip to put down that kind of torque. But if anything, I was pleasantly surprised. I distinctly remember the first time I unleashed the torque, the first time I whacked open the throttle and I could feel the front tire come up. I was shrieking like a teenage girl inside the helmet. I could not believe the grip the rear tire generated, the way it just hooked up and propelled me forward. I love how quickly the tires heat up, and also I love the feel, the feedback from the tires. Yes, like any other dual purpose tires, they do take some time for you to get adjusted to the feel, especially when you're transitioning from the left to the right. But once you pick up the speed, they start feeling more and more like normal road tires. They track accurately, they just follow your lead. They do not need to be muscle into the corner. The agility is very much there, especially with the leverage of the wide handlebars. And yeah, usually corners are the Achilles heel for most dual purpose tires. That's where they start falling apart. But the Trailhound SCRs proved to be quite the anomaly. If you would have told me earlier that I would be dragging my foot pegs in the corners on the SCRs, I would have undoubtedly called you a Looney Tune. Because honestly, it doesn't add up. I cannot make sense of it. I do not know how Eurogrip have managed to extract or deliver this level of edge grip on these edge-rated tires. Not only is the feedback good enough to tempt you to attempt this, but even when you do and you commit, you are not worried about the rear sliding and you high-siding and flying to the moon. You actually have no tire squirming, you have no movement, you just have proper mechanical grip driving you forward. The one thing that I've not been able to test is high-speed stability over 150 kilometers an hour, and that's primarily down to the big rear sprocket that we have here on the Hare Scramble, which has cost me my top end. So I'm looking forward to testing that, but I feel that's where the Radial SCRs will have an edge over the Crossply's, given their more robust construction. Also, I'm even more curious to see how these tires do in the wet, because if my previous experience with Eurogrip tires is anything to go by, it should do reasonably well, more so considering these special grooves and how they divert all the water away from the main contact patch, especially when you're riding in the wet. Yeah, you can say that I'm on cloud number 9. This off-road setup, it's so heartening to see with just a few minor tweaks, has also become this potent on the road as well. And I don't know about you, yeah, maybe I am biased, but I genuinely don't think that this avatar, this Scrambler look, looks out of place on the road either. It's still very much a head turner, it sounds ungodly, and can now also officially set the corners ablaze. Which essentially leaves us with just one more thing to do. I mean, it is a Scrambler. After all, I had to try. I know these tires, the SCRs, aren't really made for proper off-road riding, but I wanted to get an understanding of how they feel in the dirt, if they inspire the same kind of confidence like on the road, especially if you happen to come across a trail which can cut short your journey. And I think you'll be just fine. In fact, I feel if you're on the right kind of motorcycle, you'll end up having more fun than you had imagined. As for me, looking at how well these Trailhound SCRs have performed, I cannot wait to try my hands on the Trailhound STRs, which are Eurogrip's more performance-oriented 90-10 dual-purpose tires, which have primarily been designed for big adventure motorcycles. So if the Crossply H-rated SCRs are this good, I can't imagine how good those might actually turn out to be. Until then, I'm just gonna ride the Hare Scramble in anger, now that it has finally come out of hibernation and in such amazing form. And yeah, I'm looking forward to your advice in terms of how else do you think we can make this as a better roadster. So let me know in the comment section, and again, as always, thank you so much for watching.